everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I wanted to kick things off today on Wednesday with a little bit of updates on what's going on. So, Nick, what are you doing today, right?
Today, I'm doing the day 2 of the complex layout, right? But I'm going to share my screen right quick immediately because we can jump to the point immediately.
Yeah.
So
oh, wow, that's wow.
Okay. So when we say complex layout, this is one. Okay. But even though there's a lot of things, it doesn't look complicated. There's a lot of things, but things are well organized. So when you have nothing, let's rephrase. When I was younger, I was living in a very small apartment, like a studio, right? And this apartment was always a mess. Always, you leave a towel on the chair, it's a mess. It's immediately the place was looking like a mess because it was a small place. So when you have a small place and you have no organization, your place is literally looking like a mess. When you have a large, big, place, you don't care about that. It doesn't look like a mess because you have a lot of space. Okay. So when you don't have space like we do, because we have limited space, right? You need to organize. You need to organize your stuff. And organization requires a method, so you need a method. So you need a method because otherwise you will never fix your mess. Okay, so you need organization. It's and the method is out of rules. Okay, you have rules, and you have and the rules and the guidelines are not there to piss you off. They are there because it's the result of 30 years of return of experience, right? So we have the graphical interface since 1984. So since 1984, we got a lot of feedback and we learn about the mistakes and we improve things. And so that's why we have rules, okay? So the rules is always to keep things, to keep things with air, with space. You need to space things. You need to keep the thing away from each other and not gluing everything, making making small things, small grape of data that you don't know what to do with it, right? And everything that you put together needs to belong in a direction. So I'm showing this example because I want to teach you how to organize and put a hierarchy, right, on objects. So first, you can see you have multiple sections, right? So you have vertical section and you have horizontal sections, okay? So you can see you have, it's like a burger, right? And you have a lot of things attached to each other and they belong to each other in a certain direction. But the first thing you can see, for example, here is the top of the window, right? At the top of the window, you have pretty much it's the main level, it's a headquarter. Okay, the top is always the most important. The bottom is always the less important. Okay, you don't put something, vital, something like with values on the bottom. Never. You put something on the value on top. So, and we have rules that the button to go back is always on the left of the screen, the top left. You go back from the top left. You never go back to the top right. Top right will be go to the next, but you don't go back. Back is on the left, next on the right, both on the top. Then we have, on top of this, we have the phases. This estimate has multiple phases, right? So, so you can choose your phase here, and then you have the title, the version, the title, the status, what you can do, send, update to project, or create a change order. So you have some very understanding buttons on the top and the date. Right? So you have all what you need about the version. All of this about the phase. Okay, all of this is a phase. Okay? Then when you choose a phase, everything underneath the phase belongs to the phase. Okay, everything underneath this belongs to what you select here. It makes sense, and this is why this is on top. So you need to be careful when you put something on top of something, right? To make sure that there's a connection. Otherwise, make sure that your design and your visual will drive the message that we send the message that you don't have a connection between it. But here we have a connection. Okay? So when you have the phase selected, on the left, we have a main section, right? It's we have a list, a master detail, a first master detail with the section, right? So, and here you can change section if you want, right? So you have multiple sections. Everything that is on that column here, right, belongs to each other. I told you that what you have on top, what you have on the bottom of something belongs to what is on top, right? I wanted to make sure that this section here, this area with a lot of things belongs to what on top, right? Because it is, right? Those two drawers, because I have two drawers here. I have this, right? I have a drawer here. Hold on. I have a drawer here, and I have a drawer here, right? Here with the tall. And as you can see, depending on what you want to do, you can use what I talked about yesterday, which is what's the name? The impression, right? The accents. And you can play with the size of objects. So when you want to emphasize something, right? I want to make sure that the 17,323, this is the total, right? This is the total of the total. So I want that big because it's the total. And I want the hours big and the day on job big because they are the main. At the same time, I wanted to highlight this information, and I changed the background to make sure that we have two separate sections in that block, right? But they all belong together. I'm not breaking the visual. It's just that I want to make sure that this here, I want that to stand out. So to stand out, the best is to remove, right, what's not necessary and make it bigger, right? So I remove the background and I make it bigger. And I use a little bit of the accent to to make the thing outstanding. When you hear on the left, on the right of this section, you have another block. And as you can see, this block here is kind of for one block and start exactly where this block here starts, right? So visually, right, we know that what on the right of that column here will belong to that, right? Okay. So when you do this, right, here I have another drawer, right? And this here is a slide control with a button bar. I'm going to explain that in a minute. It's a slide control with a button bar, right? So yeah, I don't know why it moved. Yeah, this moved. It's okay. I will fix it. So I have drawers here, and here I want to make sure. I wanted to make sure that I give more than usual information to the user to make sure he understanding, or he or she understanding the direction, the visual direction. That's why we use this type. I don't know why this type of things. Okay. So I don't know why this was broken, but anyway, 108. Okay. 108. So this it's made with FileMaker. This little thing here. I'm going to explain that. Yeah, I don't know why you don't want to. So this is made with FileMaker, right? And I will explain how. And that helps to make sure that normally it goes away, but which one is selected. Okay. It's 10 seconds before starting, I touched something and I broke it. So now that I give the information, the visual information, where to look at, here I have a visual connection between this and this, because here it's the same name, here the same name. So I can rename that section, right? I can rename that section from here, that we rename here. So I'm doing the same treatment that I did here on the face. You select your section, right? On top of this, you have the title of the section, the status of the section, and everything that belongs to the section, including the delete section. So deleting a section is not a small action. You're going to delete all the subsection in all the items, okay? So you're going to delete a lot of things, deleting this. So you don't want a button here on this column, right? You don't want a button there. You select your section and you have a delete button here, right? On the title on the bar on top, that everything belongs to the section. This is all about the section. Okay. Below this, I have another section, which is the subsections. Okay. So, and as you can see, the subsection starts exactly right. This block here starts exactly where the subsection block starts. So visually, I give the user another indication that everything on the right of this will belong to this, right? So now we see we have the top that is across the entire, what's the name? The entire layout. Then we have slice sections like columns, one column from this side, from this level. And inside I have another area where I have where I put a connection together, right? Pretty much it's like doing this. Okay. I just remember something that I've learned when I was in Berkeley. So pretty much is this. So this is how you need to imagine the thing. Let's take a block here. So we have this block, right? We have this block, and then we have this block. Okay. This block, this block. And right. So this is my first block. Within that block, right, I put another block, right, like this. Oops. Right. So you see what's going on. So you connect the blocks together, right? And within the blocks, right, you can do something like this to show that, you know, right? And you can do the same like this, because this is the case in my example. So pretty much is putting box into boxes. That's what we do, right? It's pretty much exactly that what you do at your home. You put boxes into boxes. You put, you know, a small box in a bigger box, in a bigger box, in a bigger box. That's what you do, right? Especially, well, I'm taking the example of the kitchen all the time because it's the best example, you know, but that's what you do in a kitchen, right? And then you have rules, like in a kitchen. You don't put the utensils in the oven. You don't. The utensils are in the first drawer of your drawer section, right? And on the first, I'm pretty sure, go to your home, it's on the first. It's not in the oven or in the fridge or in the freezer, right? So you have rules, right? So the dishes on, you know, if you have a cabinet on top of your sink, the dishes will be on top of the sink, you know. So it's because there's rules. So the rules are, right, back button here, right, with the arrow on the left, that's the back button. Okay, and you have another rules, which is the next button, the opposites. Okay. So that's the opposite, right? So that's the rules. And make sure you keep the connection with the visual connection. So let's terminate this example that I have here. Estimate. Let's terminate the example here, right? So when you select, and something you need to always, when you have complex layout, you need to make sure that you are removing what not necessary at all time. When I select all items, all of them, I can select all this one, this one, this one, this one. So this is all the items, okay? So I'm showing all the items, showing 127 items, and I cannot do anything. You know, there's nothing I can do here because, but if I select one, right, then I have things. First, I can change the name, right? I can change the name of this, and I can add an item inside that subsection, right? Here, I can add an item inside the subsection. I have add an item, and the delete button is gone. Don't know if you notice here. Here, I can delete that subsection. To do so, I have the delete subsection button, and I have an add item to subsection, right? So I have those buttons here. But if I have all subsections selected, I cannot delete anymore because, you know, I'm on. So pretty much, you know, here you got the point of how to organize things. You have things coming, things leaving, you know, showing, hiding. So you need to make sure on this, organize the boxes in the right way. make sure that you have a vertical hierarchy and the left to right hierarchy. What on the left is priority, takes priority, was one on the right, right? It's going to left to right because that's the way we read. Okay. So do we have any questions so far?
No, we do not. So you are free to keep going.
Okay. So now let's close this one. Let's go back there. So when you have here, yesterday I showed the embedded tab. I don't know if you remember. Something like this. Where it is? I don't have it. Okay, I might have removed it. Yesterday I showed this. I showed the, embedded tab control, which is ugly and right, the embedded tabs. So you can see here, I'm not using tabs anymore. I completely banned the tabs here. It's a personal choice. It's because I have created my own tab control, which I have a lot of benefits that I don't have all the impediments of this. You have a lot of things going on here. You have a lot of things that are not comfortable to use with this. First of all, you don't have, without being a hack, you don't have control on the 8 of the tabs. You don't have control using this always since 1994. They built this. It makes me epileptic. This stuff here, and this here, it's it's a look. It's a mess. It's an old object that they didn't want to improve. Why? And I know why, because I was there when the decision was made to keep this alive, right? But give the building block of building something else yourself, okay? Like this. It's a tab control. But you can see, if you want to do something like this using tab control, good luck. So the problem we have with the tab control, with a tab like this, is how to make tabs that doesn't look cumbersome to read, right? This is a tab, this is a tab. They're two the same objects, okay? One is different. They look different, but they have the same behavior, and they're the same objects. Those two are the same object. They are all button bars. Button bar, button bar. Okay? Advantage of button bars, you have a lot of controls in button bars. Okay. So I'm not going to explain in deep how it works. Okay. I'm going to today we show how to organize layout and how to organize stuff like that and how to use custom objects and stuff like that. But in the next webinar, I'm going to do more in deep on this. But I want to show this. So this is a button bar. This is a button bar. They all do their job. This one go to a layout, and this one go to an object. Right? So this one is easy to understand what's going on here, right? This one here, right? It has two objects together, right? I have the button bar, which is kind of like the remote control. Let's say this is a remote control and this is a TV set, okay? So I change channel for this, right? And this is my TV set, this. So I have 7 buttons, and I have 7 slides, okay? Each slides are named, right? And I'm going to explain why I'm using names like this, Okay. So I'm going to show you why I'm using numbers and not names. Because we don't care about the names. It gives you no indication. There's no use. Instead, using numbers has a lot of help. The way you name your thing is very important. That's why, you know, since you know me and since I'm coming here, I'm using names to my advantage. And in the next webinars, I will show you how you can use names to literally save your butt, right? So the name, and especially the number, is key, right? So slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. So that's okay, you know. Free. I'm on the third slide. The slide names is free, right? What about the buttons? The buttons too, they have names. Button 1, button 2, button 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And here I have slide 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. So it's easy to understand that there is a connection between two. I'm not going to name that button 5, that drives the slide number 2. No, right? The button 1 needs to go to the slide 1, and the button 2 needs to go to the slide 2. It's very important. Very, very important how you name your objects. Of course, how a button can go to a slide control, especially because you guys know about the dots here that you can click to, you know, to go to the slide, right? But I'm not showing the button here, the dots, you know, I don't. So how this button can go to a slide? By name. Each slide, I'm going to show, each slide here has a name. So the button here, the button 1, go to the slide number 1. Maybe I can move this closer. So the navigation bar 1, that it takes control of this. Button 1 will go to the slide 1. Button 2 go to slide 2. Button 3 go to the slide 3. Okay. And why? Because we need to maintain a connection between the two. The two here need to be connected. Because I don't want the clicking to the button to declare the button active. That cannot be the good way. Why? Because first we can use slides, we can use gestures. I have a magic mouse, or you have a, you know, like a, you know, a trackpad. See, my mouse is here. I slide 2 fingers on my trackpad, and my button follows. The button follow, boom, 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 boom. Right. I can click, but I can also navigate like this, right? And my button, the active button here, always in sync with the slide. The button is not the one that takes control of the active. What tells the button which one is active, it's the slide itself. Okay? Otherwise, it will never work. Never, ever work. So to do so, we use, you know, our feature that is under our disposal, right? On the slide control, we have a trigger available, which is an on panel switch, right? On panel switch is a trigger that will get triggered when we change the panel. So if I slide here, the trigger is triggered. See, I slide here with my gesture, the trigger goes. Right. So what the trigger is doing, right? What the trigger is doing is using a function made for that. You know, all of this makes sense because it's not a hack, it's FileMaker. So if it was a hack, I have a question. If it was a hack, why the on-panel switch trigger? I need to know. I need to know why. You know, why make it if it's a hack? You know, it's not a hack. It's not. And the function I'm using, it's made for that. It has been invented for that particular reason, because back in the day at what it was called before FileMaker, okay, it was missing all those things, right? So what is the get trigger target panel? So why making this? If it's a hack, it's not. It's exactly for that purpose. I have the on-panel switch trigger that triggers scripts, right? And in the script, I have a variable that is going to the get trigger target panel, and I get two results. This function returns two results, two. The first, it's the panel number. Second, it's the name. So the panel number 2 of the slide 2, right? But what is interesting me, it's the number. So I'm getting the value of that, and I want the first. That's all what's interesting, you know. So why set 2? Because the trigger goes to 2. If I click here, what the trigger will return, right? What the trigger will return? It's 5, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this here, this button here is just to say, go to the object. That's all what I need to do. Go to the object. Basta. Punto. That's it. You know, and then, oh, I missed it. And then when you go to the object, going to the object will trigger the script triggers on panel switch. I'm switching panel. And I say, wait. Okay. So where are we going? Where are we going? I'm not asking the current panel. I'm asking where I am going, the target panel. That's what is important to know, not where I am, or no, not where I'm going to sit. Because when you pass the on panel switch, you're gone. So you don't know, you want to know in advance, the on panel needs to know in advance where we go to say, okay, you are going to land in that city, right? So I'm going to land there, right? Okay, yes, I land there. But you see, look this, you need to understand that. I click, I say, I want to go to that object, okay? Go. Now, I am now in the on panel switch trigger, but the panel didn't switch at all yet. So I said, I'm going there. I have a ticket. I have a plane ticket. I have a boarding pass to go there. Okay. The plane didn't land. You're boarding. You know, you're boarding the plane. You didn't land. You didn't fly yet, but you know where you go. Okay. Then when you know where you go, you when you go away from the boarding, then you fly. So that's why you cannot say, oh, where am I? You cannot, the trigger cannot receive the current panel because you're gone. The trigger is gone. The trigger is over, so you will never return. I hope you understand. I try to explain myself well like this, right? So now I know I have my, what's the name? Yeah. I have the slide one trigger. I have a variable. I have a global variable, right? That tells me where am I, right? Because so I know I'm in I know I'm in panel 1, panel 4. But if I change, now I'm in panel 2, I'm in panel 1, I'm in panel 5, 6, 7. Okay, change. When you have this, you know where you are, then you know which panel to be active. And here the trick. I'll return a number, right? I'll return a number. The trigger target panel return a number. And now you know why I'm naming the button 5, button 2. This number is coming from this is coming from the scripts from that number. That number. So pretty much to know which button is active, it's by name. I need to give the name of the button active. It's the name, you give the name and you have the button active. You put something like this, right? And you said, which is the name? Contacts slide 1. So you return the name, button 7. So I have a calculation that is always going to change based on which one is active, because because I'm asking this variable to give me the number. This stays always. This is button 1, button 2. So when I click here, button 1 is button 1 active. This is button 2 active. This is button 3 active. So the name is half a static button underscore blah, you know, and the number is coming from, and you put that here, you know, you can say which one is active by the calculation, right? And here I said, if it's empty, that means if it's never has been triggered. This happened only if you trigger. So when you first arrive, when you first launch your solution, this doesn't exist yet. So if it doesn't exist, put 1. That means you want the default. You want the first button. Otherwise, follow what this will do. Okay. So this is how you get this. So now, for the 50 minutes that we have, I want to show you something. Okay. How to embed slide control, right, without making them looking ugly, right? So let's say I have this guy here, right? And so I have this guy here. I have a slide, right? And inside this zone here, I want another slide. So pretty much I want to do something. I want to do the abomination of yesterday. Taking a tab control, okay, and doing something like this. Okay, So that's what I want to do. But this, it's a nightmare. Okay. Doesn't look good. So how we do? So I have another bar here. So I want another bar. And I want a bar like this. So let's create one from scratch. So I have this, right? And I want a bar like this. So I want our, I don't know, our Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, for example, Okay, so I have this. And I want, here I have different navigation style, okay? So I want the first one, I want this one, right? And I want Monday default. So now I have two buttons, okay? So, but I mean, I prefer another one, this one. I have this one, this one. They don't look the same at all. So generally, so let's say we have a border like this. So let's say we have something like this, back. So let's say we have something nice like this, right? We have something like this. And inside this, so I want to center this centered, for example. And I want to make sure that I give an understanding of my users, right? So this is, oops, a little bit more. Okay. So here I have two tab control embedded, but they don't look alike. They don't look the same at all. Okay, they don't look the same at all. I mean, I'll say they don't confuse. So now how we can have control on this? Because this control this tab. But now I want a tab inside the tab. So I am in slide one. I'm in slide one. And I want another slide control inside the slide control. So I have this slide, two slides inside. One slide control, another slide control. I have two. And one is inside this. And this, but this one is clearly in slide number one. Okay, it is in slide number one. So this is how I'm going to name this. Slide underscore 1.1. Slide underscore 1.2. And 1 underscore slide.3. 1.3. So why? By seeing that name here, I know that slide is on slide 1. Because the name is slide 1.1.2.3. That one was slide 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's the main layer. It's the main, it's the top of the food chain. And then I have this, right? So now it's super easy to say, I have a script, I have a universal script, always the same. For example, here, so I'm going to the script 2, right? And I said slide underscore 1.1. I copy this. Here, script 2. Wait. 1.2, and here script free, script 2, 1.3. 1, 2. Okay, so this is 1, 2. Put something to recognize them. 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I have this, and I have 1, 2, 3. And they don't look. And now, if in this one, I have another one. Let's say this one, I have another one. In the slide 2, I want to put another slide. Right? And here, I have another tab like this. So what do I do? Okay. So we have different ways to do this, right? But, you know, we can do something like this. You know, and we can put that here. So here I have a slide. So how I'm doing this slide? I'm on the slide number 1. So this is a slide. Where is it? Number 1. Okay. Here I'm in the slide number 2, right? And here I have in the slide number 2. Okay. So in the slide number 2 of this one, hold on. Yeah. Because you need to, normally I don't, oh. Okay. Here I have this one here. Okay. So I have this slide control inside the slide 1.2, right? That inside the slide 1, inside the slide 1, right? So you know where to position yourself. So this slide, I am in the slide 1.2. So this slide here, you understand how I'm going to name it: 1.2.1, 1.2.2, and 1.2.3. Right? So now you got the point. Click here. I said 1.2.1. This one is 1.2.2. And this one is 1.2.3. Okay? So I'm going there. I have this, you know. So I have multiple tab controls within the same tab control, right? And for the naming, I help myself with the name, because if I want the 1.2, I have all the 1.2. They're all there, right? They're all there. If I want the 1.1, all the 1.1, boom, they're all there. So you help yourself with this to localize, right? Because something, you know, I didn't do is the button name, because the button name here will be the same for the button name. So 1.1, and because I'm in the slide 1.1, right? And this is the button 1.2, and this is the button 1.3, right? So you can help yourself like this, right? Right. So this is how you can easily put boxes into boxes into boxes without looking that you're doing it. If you do tabs, you are, you know, because here I have a clear understanding, right? It doesn't look a tab control, but it is. They're the same, right? They're exactly the same. And And you can go even further, you know. You can have a button bar that looks vertical, for example, you know. You can have a vertical button bar. Exao, don't mention it. I have it. It's there. That's the same. Look, if I go to the contacts, I have the same. I have it. Let's copy it. Let's copy this object. This is a slide control. So let's go there. Let's remove this, right? And let's put this inside. What do you think this is? A slide control? It's a slide control with slide bar, but instead of having the button outside, they are inside, right? So the button here, it says accordion 1. I didn't say slide because I want to, you know, make a difference here, right? So you have, this is a tab, this is a tab, this is a tab, this is a tab, but they don't look a tab, right? So there's no problem having them display together, you know. There's not a problem displaying them together because they don't look like, you know, let me make it smaller. They don't look like tab. See, here I have this. This doesn't look like a tab. It's not a tab, but it is. So you can have, look, you have all that together, but they don't look a tab control, right? But they are. So that means, that's why, and if you don't use the name, like the name convention that I'm just showing you, the 1.1.2.3, you know, the 1.1.1.2. If you don't do this, you never go no, you're going nowhere with this. Okay, so you're going nowhere because you get confused. You don't, and you know, because you don't want the name, and of course, you know, you can copy paste and reuse it, because if you say, oh, that the follow-up slide, or that the note slide, or that the contact slide, oh, you want to do this? Sure, you want to do this? Oh, this is the contact slide, you know. So that's what you want to do? No, you know, you want to do this. Oh no, I'm not going to slide 1. I want to go to slide 1.1. See? So it's easier to rename. You know, you don't care about the slide word. You just replace the name, the number, right? So you just take care of the number. Never you can take care of the name, you know, and then you can reuse the object and stuff like that. So if you don't have any question.
No, I don't. Wait, hold on. Can I see your slide script, please?
The slide script, yeah. So even though, no, sorry. Here, so no, sorry, slide. So they trigger the on-panel switch. So I have multiple. See, for example, here on estimate, I have the slide 1, I have the slide 2, I have 2 slides, you know. So this is, I have a refresh object because you need to refresh objects sometime. It's not an obligation. Sometimes it's an optional. This is optional, you know. Sometimes you need it. So you have, that's why I have a, you know, I have a script parameters that, you know, which object I need to refresh. But most of the time I don't need. It's optional. So it's just a variable with a get trigger target panel.
Thank you, Nick, for doing this. We greatly
Thank you. Thank you very
always.
much. and see you soon. See you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.